My half-sister tried to steal my identity and inheritance, but Grandma's secret plan foiled her. I need to get this off my chest. I'm still reeling, and I don't know who else to talk to. This is a long one, so buckle up. I'm a 28-year-old woman, and for most of my life, I thought I had a pretty standard, if somewhat complicated, family. My parents divorced when I was 5. My father remarried a few years later to a woman named Brenda, and they had a daughter, Sarah, who is 2 years younger than me. My mother never remarried, and it was always just us two against the world. Because of the distance and some lingering tension between my parents, I didn't see my father or Sarah much growing up, maybe a couple of times a year for holidays and a week in summer. It wasn't a close relationship, but I always tried to make the best of it. Sarah and I were always polite. We weren't friends, but we weren't enemies either. Or so I thought. My paternal grandmother, Nana Rose, was the true matriarch of our family. She was a force of nature, kind but firm, and incredibly sharp-witted even into her late 80s. She adored both me and Sarah, or so it seemed. Every birthday, every Christmas, there were gifts for both of us, and she always made sure to call and check in. She was the glue that held our fractured paternal side together. When I was 20, Nana Rose started getting sicker. It was a slow decline, but it was heartbreaking to watch. I made an effort to visit her more often, driving the 2 hours to her assisted living facility every other weekend. My father and Brenda would visit too, and sometimes Sarah would tag along. During these visits, Nana Rose and I would often talk for hours. She'd tell me stories about my paternal grandfather, about her life, about her dreams. She always had this twinkle in her eye, especially when she'd talk about the future, hinting at things she had planned, things she was looking forward to for me. It was comforting, and I cherished those conversations. When Nana Rose passed away 3 years ago, it was a massive blow to everyone. The funeral was a somber affair, and the whole family gathered. Afterward, we all went back to her house, which was still full of her essence, to share memories and comfort each other. A few weeks later, my father called me and told me that the will was being read. He invited me to come to the lawyer's office, along with Brenda and Sarah. I expected a modest inheritance, maybe some sentimental items, a few $1,000s. Nana Rose wasn't a wealthy woman, not by modern standards, but she had always been prudent and owned her house outright. When we arrived at the lawyer's office, the atmosphere was tense. My father looked uncomfortable, Brenda had a tight smile, and Sarah was practically vibrating with anticipation. The lawyer, a very proper woman named Ms. Davies, began to read the will. It was mostly straightforward. Small bequests to various charities, a few personal items distributed amongst family members. Then she got to the main clause regarding the house and the bulk of the estate. To my beloved granddaughter, my name, Ms. Davies read, I bequeath my primary residence, located at 123 Oak Lane, along with all its contents, and the entirety of my financial assets, currently held in various accounts, totaling approximately $1.5 million. I was stunned. My mouth must have been hanging open. $1.5 million? And the house? My father cleared his throat awkwardly. Brenda's tight smile vanished, replaced by a look of pure shock and then resentment. Sarah, however, looked like she had been punched in the gut. She let out a small, choked sound. Ms. Davies continued, and to my granddaughter, Sarah Marie Johnson, I bequeath the sum of $100,000 to be used for her education or to start her own business, as she sees fit. The silence in the room was deafening after Ms. Davies finished. I was still trying to process the sheer amount of money. My father finally spoke. Mother, what was she thinking? Brenda chimed in, her voice sharp. This is outrageous. Sarah is her flesh and blood, just as much as my name is. How could she favor one over the other so drastically? Ms. Davies, unflappable, simply stated, Mrs. Johnson, Nana Rose was of sound mind when she drew up and finalized this will. She had her reasons, which she documented thoroughly with me. She then looked at me. Congratulations, my name. If you'll just sign these papers, We can begin the probate process." I signed the papers in a daze. On the way out, Sarah glared at me with an intensity one had never seen before. "You think you're so special, don't you?" she hissed, barely audible. I was too overwhelmed to respond. The next few months were a whirlwind of probate, closing out Nana Rose's estate and dealing with the emotional fallout from my family. My father was initially apologetic, explaining that he truly didn't know the extent of Nana Rose's wealth or her intentions. He tried to mediate between Brenda and me, but Brenda was furious. She started making thinly veiled comments about me being a gold digger and how I had manipulated Nana Rose. I tried to ignore her, but it hurt. Sarah was even worse. She stopped speaking to me entirely. When I tried to reach out, she'd block my calls and messages that I decided to move into Nana Rose's house. It was a beautiful, well-maintained home with so many memories. It felt like a piece of Nana Rose was still with me. I also started working with a financial advisor to manage the inheritance responsibly. I wasn't going to squander it. I wanted to honor Nana Rose's legacy. About a year after Nana Rose's passing, things took a sinister turn. I started noticing strange anomalies. My credit card company called me about an unusual purchase, a high-end designer handbag that I hadn't made. I immediately reported it as fraudulent. Then, a few weeks later, I received a notice from my bank about a large cash withdrawal from one of my savings accounts that I definitely did not authorize. This sent shivers down my spine. I called the bank, and they informed me that the withdrawal was made in person, with proper identification. "We have a copy of the ID used," the bank manager said, "and it was a perfect match for you, including a current photograph." My blood ran cold. This wasn't just identity theft. Someone was actively impersonating me. I filed a police report and started reviewing all my financial statements with a fine-tooth comb. It was a nightmare. Small, seemingly insignificant purchases were sprinkled throughout my history, things I hadn't bought. Someone was systematically siphoning money, slowly but surely. Then came the really alarming part. I received a letter from a different financial institution, one I had no dealings with. It was a confirmation of a new account opened in my name, with a significant deposit. It was a brokerage account, and it appeared that someone was attempting to transfer a substantial portion of my inheritance into this new, unauthorized account. This was a sophisticated, deliberate attack that I immediately called my financial advisor and Ms. Davies, the lawyer who handled Nana Rose's will. I explained everything, my voice trembling with fear and frustration. Ms. Davies was incredibly calm and reassuring. "This is very serious. My name," she said. "We need to act swiftly. Do you have any suspicions as to who might be doing this?" A sickening thought formed in my mind. It couldn't be, could it? Sarah. She had been so angry about the will. She had access to some of Nana Rose's old papers when she used to visit. And she looked so much like me. We had similar builds, similar hair color, similar facial features. Not identical, but enough to pass if someone wasn't looking too closely, especially if they were using a fake ID that I hesitantly shared my suspicion with Ms. Davies. She listened carefully, then said, "Thank you for that. My name." I believe Nana Rose anticipated something like this might happen. I was confused. "What do you mean, she anticipated it?" Ms. Davies sighed. Nana Rose was an extraordinary woman. She was very perceptive. When she came to me to finalize her will, she expressed concerns about potential conflicts regarding her estate, especially given the disparity in bequests to you and Sarah. She was particularly worried about Sarah's potential reactions. But why? I asked, still bewildered. Why the huge difference in the first place? Nana Rose felt that you had always shown more resilience and an independent spirit, despite your mother's struggles after the divorce, Ms. Davies explained. She saw how you carved out your own path, how you cared for her genuinely, without ulterior motives. She also had concerns about Sarah's character, even from a young age. She perceived a certain entitlement, a lack of gratitude, and a tendency towards manipulation. She believed Sarah might feel resentful and attempt to seize what she felt she was owed. This was a bombshell. Nana Rose had seen through Sarah all along. It was a revelation that both saddened and vindicated me. So, what did she do? I asked, a glimmer of hope appearing. Nana Rose, being the astute woman she was, instructed me to set up a comprehensive identity protection and fraud detection system tied specifically to your inheritance and personal information, Ms. Davies revealed. She also arranged for a series of honeypot accounts to be established. These accounts were designed to look like they contained substantial funds, but they were actually closely monitored. Any attempt to access them without specific authorization would trigger an immediate alert and a full investigation. My jaw dropped. Nana Rose had planned for this. She had essentially set a trap. Furthermore, Ms. Davies continued, Nana Rose also ensured that a special clause was included in her will, which is sealed and will only be opened under very specific circumstances. One of those circumstances is if any beneficiary attempts to defraud another beneficiary or the estate itself. What does the clause say? I asked, my heart pounding. Ms. Davies gave me a small, knowing smile. It states that if such an attempt is proven, the offending beneficiary forfeits all claims to the estate, and their share is immediately redistributed to the remaining beneficiaries. In Sarah's case, her $100,000 would be added to your inheritance. This was incredible. Nana Rose had truly thought of everything. Armed with this information, Ms. Davies and I went to the police with all the evidence: the fraudulent credit card charges, the unauthorized bank withdrawals, the attempted transfer to the new brokerage account, and the detailed records from the honeypot accounts. The police investigation was swift. They obtained surveillance footage from the bank branches where the fraudulent withdrawals were made. Sure enough, the person on the footage was Sarah, wearing a wig and sunglasses, but unmistakably her. She had created incredibly convincing fake identification documents using my name and her altered photograph. She had been systematically draining small amounts from my accounts and attempting to reroute the larger sum into an account she controlled. The police arrested Sarah. The news tore through our family like a wildfire. My father was devastated. He couldn't believe his own daughter would do something so malicious. Brenda, of course, went into full-blown denial mode. She accused me of framing Sarah, of being manipulative, of being greedy. She even tried to argue that Sarah was just trying to get what she deserved. It was a ridiculous and frankly infuriating stance. The legal proceedings were emotionally draining. Sarah, facing overwhelming evidence, eventually confessed. She admitted that she had been stewing with resentment ever since the will reading. She felt entitled to Nana Rose's money, believing that because she was my father's legitimate daughter with Brenda, she should have received more. She saw me as an outsider, someone who didn't truly belong to their family, and therefore, I didn't deserve Nana Rose's wealth. She confessed that she had meticulously studied my financial habits, stolen some of my personal information during family gatherings when I was younger, and spent months perfecting fake identification. Her plan was to slowly drain my accounts and eventually transfer the bulk of the inheritance, leaving me with nothing. The judge was unsparing. Given the premeditated nature of the crime, the significant financial value involved, and the severe breach of trust, Sarah was sentenced to 3 years in prison for identity theft and grand larceny. She also faced restitution orders that would ensure she paid back every single cent she had attempted to steal, plus damages. Her $100,000 inheritance was immediately forfeited and transferred to my accounts, just as Nana Rose had planned. The aftermath has been surreal. My father has been incredibly apologetic, trying to rebuild our relationship, but the trust is shattered. Brenda still blames me, refusing to acknowledge Sarah's culpability. She even tried to claim that Nana Rose was senile when she made the will, but Ms. Davies quickly shut that down with ample documentation proving Nana Rose's mental acuity. The rest of my paternal family is split. Some are horrified by Sarah's actions, others are quietly supportive of Brenda and Sarah, believing I was somehow in the wrong to have changed all my bank accounts, credit cards, and have invested heavily in robust identity theft protection services. I'm also seeing a therapist to process everything. It's a lot to deal with: the betrayal, the fear, the anger. But there's also a strange sense of vindication, of Nana Rosa's love and foresight protecting me even after her passing. She truly was an extraordinary woman that I'm trying to move forward, focusing on my future and honoring Nana Rosa's memory. It's hard to imagine ever having a relationship with my father's side of the family again, at least not with Brenda and Sarah in the picture. The wounds are too deep. I still can't believe my own half-sister tried to destroy my life out of pure greed and resentment. It's a testament to Nana Rosa's wisdom that she saw this coming and made sure I was protected. I guess sometimes the quiet ones are the ones who truly understand everything.